The rotations are crazy good right now. It's really, really rare to see. But like, the serious rotation is like goated. The open rotation was okay as well. And the X-rank rotation was good as well, if I remember correctly. Like, I have to choose between multiple good rotations. That is really, really rare. Okay. Mainly gonna be paint support here. That is unfortunate. And no one saw that. Okay. Sooner left stack, yeah, okay. Gonna try to hold as much of right here. Teammates doing a really good job. Hello. That was scary. Okay, there's Luna Buster left. That's unfortunate. Hello, Clan Blitz. I don't think it was too much. I think the Zuka nerf was to a really, really smart degree. I didn't think it was like overpowered or anything before, but it was annoying. And this nerf makes it way less annoying. And feels like you actually have to like hit the direct part. Which like, it's still, Zuka is still like a lot of really annoying attributes. Like, it feels really random if your like directs actually hit or not. Or like the way the projectile works is really awkward. But like it's way better. Oh, what the hell? Okay, sure. Good evening. This is not great. Yeah. I should have probably taken a safe option there. And uh-oh, now we all take unsafe options. And this, my friends, is a classic example of what to avoid doing when defending in tower control. It is called staggering, where everyone goes down one after the other, and you get nothing done. And I think I'm dead. Yeah. And that, dear chat, is called a panic Zuka, where you try to Zuka to save something, where your main weapon would be a lot more effective than the actual Zuka. Am I winning? Well, depends. Well, I lost the match. But I'm winning metaphorically, I'd say. Because, they DC'd. And, or like my teammate DC'd. Feels awful with 10 now. I'm not sure. it just like it requires you to be a bit more precise, and it like requires you to like get more consistent at actually hitting the like direct hitbox instead of the chip damage hitbox. Which, like, to be fair, on something like retakes makes it a lot more difficult. And that's kind of where Zuka was not the strongest before anyway. At least after, like, the nerf to make it 53 damage. Where you, like, before you'd use Zuka just because it does chip damage. It does like 60 or like even 53 chip damage into the enemy team. And people are scared of it, so your rest of the team can run in. Now that the damage is a lot less, it's more difficult to play off that, basically. It's still scary, and if you train yourself to be good at hitting the direct shots, then it's still very threatening. But it's not toxic anymore, basically, which is a good thing. Unfortunate. I thought I was outside of the range. Yeah, we're losing this fight. Better take defensive positions now. Those two teammates are doing a really good job at stalling, though. I'm kind of scared of the charge right here, so I'm playing behind this cover. There's a guy on our left stack. Not sure if I can, yeah, I don't think I can really look at that. I'll bomb tower and then I'll look at this blaster. This should be... Uh-oh! Special awareness moment. Bruno's air still. They move to tower, yeah. Okay. Just the blast on right stack now, yeah. I'm just gonna paint up left, to be honest. My team can deal with right. I can Zuka the chart in a second. Well, a bit too late, unfortunate. I'm not. And this may be a dead jump. It's not. Very nice. GG. Yeah. Probably just play for space control and mess up weapon a bit more, because all these weapons are kind of rough matchups. Unfortunate. This is really bad. Ah, my teammate wasn't left, I didn't need to back up actually. Yeah, need to go away now though. Nice. Nice. If they play too aggro, they die here. Nice. Good job on my team. I'm gonna Zuka this early. Hopefully get this pick. Yeah, good, okay. Nice. There's a guy behind, but I'm just gonna make this jump. Nice. Now I'm over here. I don't think they know. Nice. One. Nice. They are taking the rail again. Oh, it's a different person taking the rail. Okay. I thought the blaster was obsessed with the rail. Because they've taken that before as well. Good job on the team giving jumps though. That's really nice. Just a good chance to extend this lead. Yeah, okay. Was a bit too greedy there. I hoped I could stand behind the pole to dodge the elite, but that was crossfire from the devils. Nice. But this dread is doing crazy work. We can... No, we can't fight this, okay. Yeah, we still have a lot of paint on right though. I don't think they'll see this coming. That's awkward. I messed up my shark from behind. But I forced the leader off and the ballpoint's heavily looking at me. This jump was too aggressive. I'm gonna jump again. Nice. They really like the ink rail. Yeah, the devil's still here somewhere, yeah. Scary. Nice. You can flank, I'm gonna play a couple. Okay, I'm out. There's a guy on right. Nice. Someone's gonna take the ink rail in a second. Okay, I don't think they will. Oh, 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 oh! That's what happens if you take the same option all the time. People do realize. Especially the ink rail is something where you have to be careful because it's really easy to see and really easy to punish. They are married to the ink rail. Yeah, probably. They really, really liked it. Do I have... I'm not sure if I have time for one more. I don't think I have. Just do some aim drills then, I guess. Wow. What I'm doing right now, if you're curious, it's an aim drill where like I close my eyes and then I like rotate my camera so I don't know where I'm looking anymore. And then I open my eyes and I try to like kill the first target that I see as fast as I can. It's a good training method because like normally when you do like aim drills, you always like see everyone immediately. You just do this kind of thing. Which like isn't bad. Like it trains you for your aim to be precise. But it doesn't train you for like the actual in-game situations where someone jumps you and you have to like 180 your camera immediately. Yeah, Tyrex, I'm not queuing because I have a coaching session in 4 minutes. So I wanted to make sure I don't play for too long. Just kind of filling some of the time with aim drills. Today we're coaching Yonbon. They are actually also a coach. They are a coach for the SBA right now. We're gonna be going over B-shot, which is why I'm playing it right now. Apart from just that I like the weapon. Yeah, I can wait. I can send their blue sky and sender real quick if I find it in time. Yeah, probably easier to DM because I won't be able to. I mean, unless I can respond within in 1 minute and you don't mind telling everyone in chat. But I don't have much time, so DMs is probably easier. Well, you'll see in a second. I also have 2 other vods of this, so, because this is the third time I do this. So I have vods from the last 2 up as well. The one last week went really, really well. I'm really happy with how that went. We'll see. I hope I can replicate that today. No, I should change my setup 1 second. Me when I forget about setting up Epic Pen. And it's gonna be a huge pain to set it up now. Epic Pen is a tool that lets you like draw on your screen. You'll see it in a second as soon as I have set it up. But right now I just need to make sure that I do set it up and that I'm not slow about it. I guess, yeah. It's like it's an overlay for like over the rest of your screen. That's what makes it different. Is that is not correct. That is indeed not Epic Pen. That is indeed Discord. Why is Epic Pen not showing up? That's annoying. I don't think there was anything that leaked there, I'll be honest. Um, aha. Now it is there. And it should be, we should see it, yes. Smiley. Okay. Let's get Yonbon in here. Hello there.
Oh my god, hi.
Welcome to stream.
Thank you. I feel welcomed. This is cool, guys.
Huge. Amazing.
Oh my
Okay.
god. Oh, I can watch the stream too.
You can. I'm sharing it over Discord.
Jeez.
The
It's echo. It's
yeah,
echoey.
that's
no.
what I was about to mention. You're gonna have to mute it because I haven't figured out a way on how I can give you the Splatoon audio, but not the like my voice and your own voice.
Yeah, no. No problem. We figure it out.
Yeah.
Nice.
Okay, amazing. Hopefully that would also be this amazing smiley on the screen.
Yeah! Oh my god, this is so cool! Okay, I'm excited.
It's very happy because we are very happy.
Aww. Heck yeah.
Okay. Yeah. We have a few... Oh, those are not the replays. Those are the replays. We have a few short replays here. Which of those do you like mainly want to look at first?
Yeah, I feel like Haggle was a good one because I think I mentioned this even with the before I had mentioned like, oh, I wanted to maybe look at some sword gameplay. I end up playing shot the entire time. But I feel like the way that I play is also reflected, like no matter what the weapon is. I feel like there's that point where I'm kind of like, I feel like I should be initiating something here and I'm not. So I feel like Haggle would be a really good example. So
okay, yeah, we can definitely start with that.
Yeah, and it was a close game too, so I was like, perfect.
Yippee!
Woohoo! Yeah. My friends.
Okay. We're gonna do this very briefly because it's not the main point, but we're quickly gonna look at the comps that we have right here. So kind of curious what thoughts you have about like mostly the enemy team's comp and how like we should play around that.
Yes. So immediately, I remember this game too on Friday. I was like, double Zuka. That's the main takeaway. We're really thinking, okay, double Zuka here. But Bo goes nicely into Dynamo, which is great because and my friend Icy there is playing Bo. So I was like, ooh, okay, awesome. We got some advantage over there. I'm a little bit wary. I mean, we have bucket versus bucket, but also the tints like worries me a little bit because of the tendency for like maybe the Dynamo to come up with the tint. Those are kind of the main things that I'm thinking is like double Zuka. Bo goes into nicely with Dynamo if we can focus on that. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. Tent is always something to be scared about because tent players are scary.
Yeah.
So we
Agreed.
always kind of have to worry behind like someone being behind the tent field. Mostly it's the tent player themselves, but like something with like a really big hitbox or something with quick kill times is really scary behind tent fields as well. So yeah, definitely be scared of that. Your team has a decent matchup into tent in that the bow does crazy object damage into it. So you can like try to shred it relatively quickly if the bow's around. And you have 3 bombs as well that you can all throw at the field. All of which do a lot of damage as well. And also like if someone is in front of the field and you throw a bomb, they just die. Or if you are behind the field and they don't know you're there, then you can also just throw a bomb. And that's really nice into tent.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think the main counterplay into tent should hopefully just be trying to shred it with the bow together.
Yeah.
Yeah. Focusing on tent so much because it's really polarizing. And you have to kind of find a way to counterplay it.
Yeah.
Otherwise, it will just do ludicrous crimes against your team.
For sure.
Okay. Yeah, Tyrex brings up a good point in chat. If the bow shoots at like in front of the tent field, then the arrows can like sometimes glitch behind the field and kill people behind it.
Icy even said that, which was hilarious to me. And later, when I looked at the replay myself, I saw that happening, and I was like, "Oh my god!"
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's great.
It's really scuffed. And really polarizing matchup. Yeah. I like that you kind of try to push this right here. Haggle is a map where the mid is like really small and really narrow, so it's going to be difficult to actually push through this without like a lot of specials.
Yeah.
So taking the flanks is really important on this map because otherwise you're just kind of playing on this like 1-by-1 like death tunnel.
Yeah.
And especially against people with like big hitboxes, especially against something like a 10 field, you really don't want to do that.
Yeah.
So taking flanks is important. And I like specifically that you take the flank together with the whale, because that makes the enemy team like gives them one more thing to worry about. Flanks on this map aren't that difficult to deal with if you just do them alone. If you just kind of run in on one side and no one else is kind of following up, then people can just shoot you. And that's why it's important to like have a whale or like some sort of special right here to have like generally team presence in mid, where we don't have much right now, which is mostly just because of that unfortunate bomb death earlier.
Yes.
But we can still like kind of try to take this angle a bit, try to scare them a bit, and see what happens after. Yeah. We don't commit too hard to it, which is nice because good because the whale runs out, and we're still technically in numbers disadvantage. Nice, good pick on the Dynamo. now is the time where we should kind of try to W key a bit more.
Yes.
They have cooler, but realistically, we don't have time to wait for our cooler because it's gonna be a while.
Yeah.
I mean, unless the Zap like called out that they want to get it fast after their respawn, it's probably something that we don't want to wait for, and where we just want to say we go in now because we have a player more.
See, this is where, yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. So, when I looked at these games, like, I took a brief look over them, just like, going fast. It,
Yep.
I did notice some of these Zukas. We'll talk about them a bit more in depth later. The Zuka is good to shred the 10 field. I like that part of it. The other parts of it I'm not a big fan of.
Yeah.
I'll bring up more specific points later. For now, it's just like the timing and positioning is a bit weird. Yeah. Okay. We wait for cooler, which is fine. I don't have anything against that. It's always a good idea. We have kind of have to be a bit scared of their special advantage, but they don't really use it. So sure.
Sure.
Good job punishing them for running in here. That's exactly like what we kind of don't want to do. Their strikes are really good, and the strikes give them really good opportunity to move forward. But they kind of take a bit too much space. They don't respect that, like, you still have a lot of control right here. And because of that, like, you're able to punish them for being, like, isolated from the team. So really good job there. Yeah. Good job taking the flank. We should probably move back because of the dynamo, but just threatening something like this is usually worth it. Just so the enemy team doesn't only have to look forward, but also has to look at these other kind of angles. And even if you yourself can't do anything right here, you still definitely stall out the dynamo, and that maybe gives the rest of the team an opportunity to do something. Nice. I really like that you move forward here. Was that like called out in VC? I'm curious about that.
Yeah, I think. Yeah, I heard vowels going on left side, so I was like, and then wanted to push in with that. I think, if I recall correctly. Yeah.
Yeah, that's really, really good. And that's exactly how you want to play this map. That there's kind of like someone taking attention right here, someone flanking on this part of the map, and then because people are forced to look at this, that is exactly the time where you want to move up and where you want to follow up on on this fight or just anywhere else on the map. It is also on YouTube. Some chat messages in chat.
Yippee! Woohoo!
Yeah, so really good job, like, as a team to call that out, and then for you to follow up. That's really important on this map. Nice pick with the Zuka. We go a bit too far here.
Fast,
I'm assuming we just didn't see the tent.
Yeah.
Because I'm assuming if we saw the tent, then we wouldn't have taken that risk.
Yeah.
But yeah. That's not a huge deal. We are still back fast and we have a safe jump with like cooler on the jump. So we can still play around this. That's unfortunate. They're both so low. I don't hate the fight.
I want that.
Because like it's those kind of like really small moments that you see like in game where you think like I can get this big. And usually going for that is worth it. Especially because you have cooler right here. Because like you're really close to getting both of these players right here.
And then
that's really unfortunate.
Ears to the right.
Yeah, it's a bit of RNG. It's a bit of them like moving out of your aim, but basically like this was really close to actually getting them, and because of that, I don't hate the idea, and in fact I think it's good because like they don't have paint here, So I think the fight is, like, in principle, not a bad idea.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Okay.
There's something really silly I do in this game, and I'm sure he'll comment on it.
We'll see in a second. Yeah, at this point we should probably play for Zuka. Okay, let's talk about Zuka positioning a bit.
Yeah.
And I'm kind of curious on your thoughts on this, just starting out.
Sure.
What you kind of look at when you try to use Zuka.
Yeah. One thing that stuck out to me when my friends were VOD reviewing me before as well, and I agree with them, was that I tend to pop Zukas in really strange spots, or like choose to either pop it at a weird time or just bad location. And I don't like that. I want it to be like good, right? And I think this is kind of one of those moments where it's I I think I struggle on defense a lot because part of me is like, oh, they
Yes.
have big advantage. So I'm like,
Mhm.
shoot, frick, and then like I like pop Zuka in response to that because I'm thinking, oh, I want to get a pick, I want to get something going so my team can come back in.
Mhm.
But it's like I don't really think too much about that,
Mhm.
and so it ends up just being a panic Zuka. I feel like, or not
Yes.
panic-y, but it's kind of like
Mhm.
there's not as much thought as there could be behind it.
Mhm.
So
Okay.
yeah.
I heavily resonate with that because, like,
Mhm.
I played V-Shot for a long, long time.
Mhm.
When I played comp, and legit, like, for 6 months I just worked on, like, not using panic Zugas all the time. So it took
Yeah,
me quite a while
for
to
sure.
stop that habit, and at some point I just stopped playing Zuka, so I'm sure it's back now.
Mhm.
It's it's definitely not not the easiest special to get, like, consistent value out of. In fact, that's
Yes.
what's, like, kind of balancing it. And
Mhm.
that's how they've balanced it in the past, is making it more inconsistent.
Mhm.
So that's, like, really the really difficult part about it. Um, I'm gonna talk about, like, more thoughts specifically on defense later. I want to bring up
Sure.
some thoughts specifically on Zuka right now.
Yeah.
Um, just, like, a few things to watch out for when popping Zuka. The most important thing is really that you have a target in mind. That you see a target who's, like, relatively vulnerable. So something like the Dynamo would work really well because they tend to be in, like, kid form a lot. And
Mm.
being in kid form means being really slow. And that's, like, the prime target for a Zuka.
Yeah.
Because they can't really swim around much, you don't really have to lead your shots as much. It just makes everything a lot easier. So that's kind of the first step, just kind of picking out a target and then getting into a position where you can shoot that target.
Mhm.
So right here, it's, like, a bit awkward. You could have
Yep.
probably, like, hit the tower still, but this goes a bit too low.
Yes.
And I'm thinking it's probably because we're a bit far away. Or, like, we could aim higher and then it would hit, so it's a bit weird. Like, the situation is a bit weird. But the main thing is that it would be a lot nicer if we just had this target in mind from the start and just, like,
Yeah.
Zuka boom they're dead. That's kind of
Mhm.
the thing that this special is really good at. It's just you pop it and someone explodes across map.
Mhm.
Um, so that's kind of the first part. The second part is to make sure you're using it in a somewhat safe position.
Yep. Yep.
So there's two things that I think are really important to watch out for there. The first thing is the paint that you have around you. And because, like, you can't paint while you're in Zuka, you're,
Mhm.
like, kind of stuck. So being in enemy ink is, like, the worst thing you can do when popping Zuka, because it's
Oh
even
yeah.
worse than if you had, like, your main weapon.
Absolutely.
So So especially in this kind of situation,
Yeah,
it's really weird.
awful timing. Terrible.
This is like a
Bad.
this is like a screenshot that really reminds me of like the coaching sessions I had with Cool when we talked about like when I talked about Zuka with them, and they
Hmm.
uh they screamed at me for popping these kinds of Zukas.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah. Fisk, do you need to do a little screaming? It's okay. You can vent at me. It's all right.
no, it's fine.
Uh-huh.
I am very calm and collected always.
Oh, okay. Got it. Got it. Easy.
So yeah, I think you see why the Zuka is scary. There's like an
Oh yeah.
explosion going on here, and there's an explosion going on here, and then like you have this much paint.
Guys, guys, no.
And then like
Um.
there's a bucket somewhere here that has a lot of paint that's gonna approach under the sledge and shoot at you as well.
Oh yeah, it's awesome. This is like a trifecta effect. Awesome.
Yeah. Um. So that's the main kind of thing in terms of positioning right here.
Hmm.
Because we don't want to be in a position where we like have to dodge enemy attacks when popping Zuka. We want
Oh
it to
yeah.
be from a position where we are safe, where we can just shoot 3 times and then continue with our main weapon. Because
Hmm.
that's another thing that the special is good at, is it's really fast, and you can get back to your main weapon really fast.
Hmm.
Yeah, so that's the main thing, just respecting enemy ink control a lot more, and respecting like stuff like buckets being under ledges, stuff like
Yeah.
explosions being thrown at you, all that kind of stuff.
Uh-huh.
Um,
Do you think a
Go ahead.
do you think a better position would have been to take top left?
Yes.
Yeah.
I was about to say that.
Hmm.
Because like this kind of crossfire position isn't bad if you can get there
Hmm.
safely. Like if you can Zuka
Yeah.
from like tent or glass or whatever you call it right here, or if you
Hmm.
can like safely Zuka from this kind of ledge, then this is a really good crossfire option. But like in those kinds of situations, you don't have that much control a lot of times.
Yeah.
So specifically if the enemies have a lot of map like paint control right here, they can just swim up under ledges and like threaten you.
Hmm.
And those are the kinds of angles that are really difficult to hit with Zuka, so you don't really want to go for that if you can avoid it.
Yeah.
So like being, if the text goes away, being somewhere right here with the Zuka would be a lot easier. Because we have a really clean shot towards tower. They may not even see you pop Zuka because like their angle towards it is a bit weird, right? They can't really see
Yes.
many players who are like swimming around here.
Yeah.
So they may be caught off guard by that. um,
Yeah.
um, the chat is really it's distracting me a lot. I'm sorry.
No, that's fine. We love a good chat. Awesome. Entertaining.
Yeah. This possession we'll see when we talk about this in overtime, because I know in overtime our defense is really bad. This
Yeah.
position is really important in defense.
Mm.
We'll talk about that a bit later. But yeah, for now, the things to keep in mind for Zuka is first of all, try to pick a target. Really good if it's like a slow target, like Dynamo, stuff like Chargers would work as well. Splatlings, all those kinds of weapons. Or
Hmm.
weapons that are just like kind of distracted and fighting someone else right now.
Yeah.
People who don't have time to react and don't have time to move around when you shoot at them, basically.
Hmm.
So that's number one. And then number two is like pop it from a safer position.
Yeah.
Because then we can actually use the strong parts of it, which is the range and like the threatening kill potential.
Hmm.
Safe. In retakes, it's a bit more difficult because both of these things tend to be not the easiest in retake to find.
Yeah.
And especially this kind of safe one is really weird in defense, which is why high ground is so important. Which is why these kinds of positions are really nice, which is like sometimes you pop Zuka from here or from here, just because you're safe there.
Yeah.
In retakes, it's also really good to wait for your team to be back.
Yeah.
This is also something we'll see a bit later, but generally speaking, Zuka is a lot more effective if there's teammates who can follow up on it. Because, like, what happens if, like, what does the enemy team think if you pop Zuka? They're gonna be scared as hell.
Yeah.
Like, you can probably imagine from, like, having played against double Zuka against this team.
Yes. Run. I like what... Exactly.
Yeah. Kind of just run away, be very scared, take cover, stuff like that. And that's stuff where your team can follow up on it really well, especially if you hit some kind of chip damage. This is stuff where if your team goes in with the Zuka, or if your team goes in and then use Zuka for your team, that makes it a lot more effective. So especially in something like retake, where you really want to make sure that your team stays alive, and we kind of don't make the position worse for ourselves.
Yeah.
It's not a bad idea to just wait for your team, basically. Zuka for or like with team.
Yes.
For in the sense of that if your team runs in and gets damage on them, then you can finish them off with like nice chip damage. And with in the sense of or like for in the sense of you can Zuka and then your team can run in with that.
Yeah.
So that's the main thing for Zuka. Do we have any questions about that?
No, I think that third one just made me think, like, if I can announce those intentions beforehand, that would be really nice.
Exactly. And that's something where callouts are really important. Callouts are really important for any special to be more effective. But especially for something where it requires your team, or like where it's a lot stronger when your team also plays with it. It's really nice if you can like call that out before. If you can like 5 seconds, or like maybe 5 seconds is a bit too much because this game is really fast.
Yeah.
Like 1 or 2 seconds before you pop Zuka, just announce that you have it, that like your team can go in and go forward and run in, and they have a Zuka that can protect them.
Yeah. Oh, that'd be great.
Okay. Yeah. Oh, this is the wrong player.
Hi, Bells. No.
Okay. That's not a huge deal that you die there. Just because you had cooler, so it doesn't really matter that much. Sure. Again, we took a fight with the whale, so that was really nice. Okay. Yeah, this is against... It's an unfortunate frame. Which of the 3 points from earlier didn't we do like perfectly here? If you can.
Let me look at this. Yeah.
Maybe I can bring them up again. Yeah, I can.
Yeah, there we go. Oh my god, that's so cool. Okay. Oh, I think I already know. We didn't really have a target.
Yeah. That's gonna be the main thing here. We don't really have a target. I mean, I guess there were these players right there that you wanted to shoot at.
Yeah.
But like the 10 shield was in the way, and I guess if it weren't, then you would have gotten those picks. So I kind of take it back. It's fine.
It was like I knew
I get the
there
attention.
were like players around, and I was like, oh man, I want to get someone. There's surely I can like, you know, is the thought. But yeah.
Yeah, and yeah, I guess it's not a bad idea if we go in like if the rest of the team tries to follow up on that, on like that the 10 shield is destroyed and that we can go forward. And it had the opportunity to get a pick. So I take back my previous criticism.
Fair.
There's still
Yeah.
some like thoughts around paint right here, that you don't really have
Yes.
that much paint. And that we aren't aware of the dynamo being on our left.
Yeah.
But that's more of an awareness thing than anything else.
Because I think I do check left a little bit, but I don't check it well enough. Question mark.
Yeah, to some degree. To some degree, it's also just like everyone's responsibility on the team.
Yeah.
To be aware that like to watch left and to call out if someone is left.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like everyone basically.
Gotcha.
Okay. Unfortunate.
Oh.
Okay. I think we take a right drop here in a second, don't we? Nice. Okay, good pick on the tent. I really like this fight because the tent like looked at someone completely else.
Yes. Yeah.
And because of that, we could just run in and punish them for doing that. This is scary.
Yeah. Yeah. I
Like,
don't get punished for it.
yeah, they have cooler and like your cooler just went out. I don't hate it because it's really fast, and if plays are really really fast, then that makes them really strong in this game. So especially kind of here, I don't think they expected you to drop here, and that's what makes it strong.
Yeah.
Because like a lot of times in this game, if you do something fast, it's better than if you just think about what you want to do for a while and then you do whatever you want to do slowly. So sometimes it's just good to like take an idea and just run with it. So I'm actually like, I don't hate this too much. Tent moment.
Yep.
Tent has some really weird interactions with like hooking you and moving players on the enemy team.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm sorry.
Oh. You're good. You're good. You're good.
Yeah. I'll bring up the graphic again.
Here we
and
go. Let's go.
And I think this is kind of self-explanatory. Don't think I need to say much about this.
Oh, guys.
Yeah.
Guys.
So I think something there is that I'm not sure to what degree we were planning around using Zuka. Do you kind of remember the situation?
I mean, like, I can already think about, like, my process here is, like, okay, my friends are pushing tower on right side. I'm on left. I see that there's a bunch of people going up ramp or kind of retreating is my thought. And I'm not, like, I think it's an awareness thing, too, because I'm, like, thinking, oh, I think everyone's pushed up already when I didn't realize, like, the dynamo or, like, someone else is still kind of in mid or pressuring that. So I'm just thinking, oh, everyone's running back. Perfect. I kind of want to pop because I think they're coming. They're around that corner or around that place.
That makes sense.
Like, see,
there is two thoughts I have about this. One that there's a nice, really effective tool that you have at your disposal that is really good at short range, and gives you a lot of chances to miss, and gives you a lot of chances to paint over the enemy's feet, and it gives you a lot of chances to like move around.
Yo, could you tell me?
And so I'm describing your main weapon.
I know. Guys, it's over for me. Guys. No.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So in those kind of short range situations, your main weapon is just flat out better than Zuka.
Yep.
Because Zuka is inconsistent, especially like at those kind of close ranges. There's something really weird about Zuka, and that the hitbox is actually really small. I can I don't think I can bring it up on screen, but I can like pop it in the chat that you see. There's like a where is it? There's like a GIF about Zuka and the Zuka hitbox, right? I'm gonna try to find it real quick. But basically the point is that at the start of your Zuka shot, the hitbox is actually really small. You can kind of see it in this image. That like the hitbox at the start starts being really small. And because of that, it's just it's really unlikely for you to hit a one shot at those kind of ranges. So the only thing you can really go for are like the chip damage ones, and those are way too slow and not as effective.
Yeah.
So like if you are ever in a situation like this, just shoot at the floor.
Yeah. No,
Also
for sure.
because like the projectile of where you aim, maybe we can go into the lobby about this, where you aim and where you shoot is like you shoot in a bit of an arc about where like your actual reticle shows where you would think the shot actually goes. So it's like if you kind of aim at the floor right here, then the projectile will actually like explode somewhere around here.
Yeah, yeah.
It's a bit weird with how the special works. But yeah, a long tangent to the point that basically in this situation your main weapon is way more effective than Zuka.
No, absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's the first thing.
Dude, I saw the person right there too. Damn.
Yeah. Those are the kinds of panic Zukas that I also did a lot of back like half a year ago. So don't worry about it.
Yeah. Oh my god.
Yeah. I think in this case, what would have been nice is a bit of preemptive positioning for actual like firing the Zuka. And that's like a general thing where we talked about picking a safe Zuka position and picking a target earlier. Part of that means picking like a good position to fire your shots from. So on this map, for example, it's really nice to fire your shots from somewhere around here because those are really consistent at hitting like tent over here, this kind of position, which is kind of quite annoying to deal with otherwise. And Zuka is like exceptionally good at killing people over here.
Oh yeah.
So if you kind of like just shoot from somewhere over here, and then like you have the ability to actually shoot at people who are on tent, and you're also safe for like around the people that are somewhere around here, and you can shoot at them like safely.
Yeah.
So I guess one part that we could think about working on is just preemptive Zuka positioning. So like all of these are like good tips, and I think all of them are things we can directly work on. If we like pick, like just go into a play session and say, I want to work on like all my Zukas will have a very direct target, stuff like that. But something that's also part of that is just popping Zukas in position where like we have a like safe position where we hit a lot of like angles where enemies want to be.
Yeah. I think it's identifying good locations on maps
Yes.
for seeing things, you know, or to find a target. That's what I feel like a lot of things have come down to is like part of that positioning is where are you going to be the most strong at? That
is 100% correct. That is basically what all positioning questions boil down to.
Let's go, guys. Yeah.
Because like you want to somewhat simplify your idea of like a map in your head, because you can't just like think about every single spot on the map where you could go in a spot. So you want to think about where are strong spots for your weapon and for like your special and all that kind of stuff. And that's kind of the fundamental question about positioning, which is has a lot of depth.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, getting the nitty gritty there.
Yep. Okay. Nice. Again, they were focused on someone else, so really good job fighting that. Yeah. These, yeah, this is fine. We're just kind of stalling. Sure, nice, good fight.
I don't like this.
Yeah, that's a okay trade. We had Zuka, which would have been valuable in this overtime. We can still probably get it if we play for this on this respawn. Which I already know that we won't.
Yes.
So, now is the time to talk about defense, because things go very wrong here.
Oh, absolutely.
Okay. We'll let this play out for a second, just from the overhead view, and then we can kind of talk about our thoughts on this later. And yeah, we lose lead right here. Okay. I'm kind of curious on your thoughts about the situation, and what like you and your team could have done differently to prevent this.
Yeah. So as soon as this right flank happens and then strikes come out, it's really unfortunate that Vowels dies, because if Vowels hadn't died, I feel like, or our bucket player, we could have cleaned up some of that fight. But now we're kind of in this position where our Zap is being pushed back, our bow is watching, right, which is great. Vowels is just, or the bucket is responding. Zuka comes out from them. They try to get a pick. I don't think the Zap should be most forward.
Okay.
But they are backing up, so it's fine. Strikes come out, and then this is bad. Zap is the only one that went forward. Bucket needs to be on top left, and I need to be considering as soon as it hit overtime, and I think this is also another recognition thing and awareness thing where I didn't realize how close they were to breaking or getting lead, right? And so like I'm thinking, and this is something that maybe if we have time for and we end up looking at another game, I do these like sometimes very long flanks, and it's like I don't realize, wait a second, I need to be the one also contesting what's going on, instead of letting them get away with that, because I think I don't want to face them head on sometimes. And I'm also looking at chat, and I agree with that comment. There wasn't a game plan in the moment. I think it was just like lack of understanding of like it was kind of like panic, right? It was just like people trying to do something and they didn't know what.
And that tends to happen a lot in like overtimes, especially around kind of like what I've seen from like entry lower levels. Because it kind of takes some coordination in those situations to like form a game plan, to have an idea of how we want to stop this tower. So let's talk about that, because we need, like as a team, we need to have an idea of how do we stop this tower right now, or at least how do we stall it out, because stalling it out means that we get more opportunities to actually like get picks, more opportunities to like get some sort of DT strikes, that kind of stuff, which I think we.
Oh, I think so I think our bucket player did actually say, like, announce like, hey, I'm painting for strikes, which was great, because that is a good thing. But I think it was after that we didn't know what we were doing or like what was gonna happen.
And that makes a lot of sense, because to be honest, from this position, there's not much that your team can do, because the positioning is really awkward right now.
Yeah.
Specifically, it's we talked about this kind of position earlier, top left. That's something where we really need at least one person right now.
Yep.
It kind of fundamentally comes down to this idea of tower control and how to like stop towers from moving forward, which is to kind of throw all resources we have at the tower and then try to set up crossfire angles. So if there's like a tower right here, and we have someone set up here, we have someone here and here, and then like we have either someone on the tent or someone flanking, then like they can't do anything because even though they have this small bit of protection on the tower, there's people shooting at them from all sides of angles. So they physically can't stay on tower. Or like the same kind of idea, even if we have less players, if we have someone that can kind of like throw a suction bomb on this part of the tower, and then this player can shoot at this part of the tower, then that still is enough to stop people from being on tower. So fundamentally, defense and tower control basically comes down to being set up in good positions so that we can crossfire the tower from different angles. Or like, if we don't have many safe positions, then throw bombs at tower, throw any kind of resources we have at tower, so we're able to find those kind of positions where we can clear tower safely without having to like commit to like most of these risks.
Yeah.
And that's why this position in particular is really important. First of all, it's high ground, so the enemies will have a lot of difficulty actually pushing you there or like stopping you from doing things. So that means that like for any kind of weapon that has a bomb, and like I guess the bow doesn't have a bomb, but its main weapon is effectively one.
Yeah.
So like kind of for any weapon on your team, this position is really strong because even if you can't shoot at the tower, which you probably can because there's a lot of options, you can still like throw bombs at it.
Absolutely. I think there's just like a conceptual thing in my brain where I don't want to be the one facing tower. I'd rather leave that up to the rest of the team while I like go from behind or something, which I feel like is a flaw. But I think I've tended to do that or gravitate toward that because it's something that I did in like I don't know. I guess it was just never corrected or just like ended up working out or I never had to face it because like the rest of my team were able to usually like get people off tower or whatever.
And I mean, to some degree, it's not a bad thing because if your team can hold like the front angle, and then if the enemy team doesn't watch you going in from the back, then that flank is really strong because again, it's kind of this crossfire angle where people won't be looking behind them and they can't do anything at that point. The difficulty also comes down to getting into these kinds of positions will get more and more difficult, like the better players you play against.
Oh yeah.
Because good players will have a really good intuition of like where people can drop, what kind of game plans enemies have, and are able to punish that really fast, usually. So that's why this kind of idea will probably like be a bit worse the higher you kind of climb.
Yeah.
And where I think like playing safer, playing more patient is a lot of a like much better idea there. Yeah. Okay. So I think in this position the most important thing is just that we have anyone on top left.
Yeah.
Like literally anyone. I don't really mind who it is.
Yes, yeah.
And then if we have that, then as a team we have like way more options. Because right now we're kind of in an awkward position where we are all kind of looking at tower from the same angle pretty much. And that makes it really easy for the enemies to just watch that one angle.
Yeah.
Yeah. So basically
Top
left. Yeah. Like applying this to kind of other maps as well. There are like on a lot of maps there are these kinds of like really strong positions. I think like FLC calls them stronghold positions, which is really funny.
Wait, whoa, stronghold reference? Oh my god.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh.
Everyone in chat go follow stronghold and all media right now.
Yeah. Oh my god. Crazy.
But yeah, like on a lot of maps there's these kinds of strong positions where you are difficult, like the enemy will have a lot of difficulties to contest you, and you can relatively safely crossfire the tower, throw bombs at tower, all that kind of stuff. And it's really important in defense that we have at least one person in those positions if we want to stop the tower.
So I'm curious. I think because like if let's say we had been in those better
Mm-hmm,
positions, like we had bow, bucket,
mm-hmm,
zap, all kind of in that top left somehow, and then I decided to take that drop or that flank.
mm-hmm.
Would that have been a fine choice? But like I guess because we didn't have a plan, doing that when we weren't in those good spots, bad. But I don't know.
It pretty much depends
Just
on
depends situational.
yeah. If you communicate this well, and if the enemies don't really look at this off angle, then I think it's not a bad idea. Then I think this can totally work. And I think we'll see on, if we look at the Manta game later, that those kind of off angles that you take sometimes to stop tower do sometimes work. And I
Mhm.
mean, even in this game, they like earlier they worked.
Yeah, it's
Um,
just yeah.
so it kind of
Go
comes
for it.
down to the enemy being able to see that and to punish you for doing that. In
Mhm.
this kind of context, also just kind of how far the tower has to go, because I think pretty much over here you already lose lead.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
at that point, like this is not that far. Like from this kind of angle, the easiest position to intercept the tower is kind of around these points,
Mhm.
because they're closest to you. Like you wouldn't want to kind of try to fight if the tower is like right here, because then
Yeah.
like that's a really awkward position for you to push like from these kind of angles, unless the enemy is
Yes.
really like all clumped up here, then that doesn't seem like a great idea. Um, so like the easiest point to stop is kind of here. And at that point, I fear we already might lose lead just
Mhm.
from like tower momentum, small bits of lag. That
Yeah.
like even if we pick players who are on tower right here, that we still lose lead.
Yeah, no. Mhm.
But again, if like as a team, everyone else is just kind of focused on stalling the tower, on just like throwing a lot of bombs, kind of threatening crossfire angles, then that can totally work. Because if
Hmm.
we as a team just are really annoying towards the tower riders, that they can't really consistently be on the tower, that they constantly have to get off, then kind of fighting behind the enemy team is really nice.
Mhm.
Because it takes like attention away for
Yeah.
the rest of the team. Um, yeah, in like if this weren't overtime, then it would be like a lot easier to contest this tower like around this checkpoint.
Mhm.
Because we're in overtime, we have to stop this right here.
Yep. Right now.
Um, yeah.
Yeah.
That's also something where communication with the team is really important. Um,
Yeah.
just kind of communicating if you are like just kind of throwing bombs at tower, if you are like in these kind of positions, if you're taking any off angles, um, stuff like that is really important.
Yeah. I had this idea like people were already kind of there and it's like now I need to make that transition or maybe think about like oh maybe I need to be the one in that position instead because I'm
Hmm.
used to having people already in a certain spot or like a
Hmm.
certain area and I'm thinking oh wait no I need to be one of those people. I don't know if that makes sense but it's kind of like when you play with different people you
Yeah,
also have like different responsibilities.
yeah, exactly.
um so then and for this team I was being more
Yeah.
of that aggressor but trying to understand oh wait maybe I'm the one that has to also
Yeah.
um
It
take those positions.
it really depends on context. In this kind of team,
Mhm.
it makes a lot of sense that you would take a more aggressive role, because Bo and Zep will both play very passively, and
Mhm.
especially if you play something like double shooter, if one of the shooters plays for pain support, then the other one just kind of has to play more aggressively.
Yes.
Um,
Yeah, for sure.
so like that makes a lot of sense in the context of this team.
Yeah.
Um,
Um. Mhm.
yeah, just make sure that in the moment you prioritize what's most important.
Yes.
So like if
Yeah.
everyone on the team is dead, then you want to be that person that goes on top left and throws bombs at
Yes.
tower and just paints and gets like Zuka. But if everyone is alive, then sure you can go for like weird off angles.
Yeah. No, yeah. That makes sense.
Yeah.
Yippee!
Also, this is a really small thing, but like as a bucket player, or like as any player with strikes, if you have lead, just wait, like use your strikes to stop lead from happening. And like
Oh yeah.
you
I don't know
can
when they were used.
you can save them. This is like 30 seconds before. 30 seconds before is a difficult time, because that's the time where like maybe you could get another pair of strikes in that time. So it's kind of thinking, do I want to use it now? Do I want to keep them for later? So this is kind of a weird position. Just generally, playing it more safe with like a GG special is always a good idea.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's towards the bucket basically.
Heck yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Cool.
I think, because I think we only have time for one more. I think I'll go
Yes.
for the Rainmaker one.
Sure. Yeah.
Because I think it shows the kind of flanking questions you had before a bit better.
Yes. Yeah. There's like a lot of drops that I make on Humpback that I'm like, but should have I helped?
Yeah.
Because I kind of like thought the team could handle it, so I was like, oh, I'll go behind. But then it's like, oh no, we lost lead.
Yeah.
It's like, uh-oh.
Yeah, we'll see how exactly. One
goes down. Yeah.
This is one.
Again.
This is something where we have to be careful. This is very specific to this map. Where it happens a lot that in opening fights, people kind of go down like somewhere here or like here. And then like you're stuck on this side of the map and you kind of have a few ideas of like, where do I go now?
Yeah.
And this option, it's very safe, but it's also kind of a bit deceptive in what it actually does. In that there's no one kind of between the Rainmaker right now.
Yeah.
And that's kind of what this position is like, makes it really dangerous, is that if the enemy just gets like a few centimeters towards the goal, then there's no way for you to stop them anymore. And I think that's kind of what happens over here as well.
Yes.
So, like, popping Zuka from here would have been a good idea. Just kind of, because from here you have a good angle on the Rainmaker to actually pick it with Zuka.
Yeah.
It's a bit awkward that we pop it over here, because that's like further away and less range.
Yeah.
So just popping it here would have been a good idea. And then after that, we need to make sure we hurry towards the Rainmaker checkpoint ASAP.
Yeah. Run.
Yeah. There's a small option that I feel like is underutilized by a lot of people, which is to go through this trench right here. It's something that people usually don't expect. And especially if you kind of hug this wall, like to the right wall, then it's not the easiest for people to see it. Because like kind of their camera control is like against them in that situation.
Yeah.
So that's like a small option that like if you are in this kind of position and your team just died over here, oh god, they're gonna get checkpoint, is something that I like to use there. Yeah. And yeah, this is one of those really long flanks.
Yep.
It's yeah, it's something where I think we should have taken the flank a bit shorter. Just like instead of going this like really long angle, just kind of try to like going here is fine, and then just Zuka and then immediately run towards the Rainmaker.
Yeah.
Instead of trying to take like those kind of more weird paths, just trying to optimize it to be as fast as possible in that case. But yeah, ultimately it half works out. The enemy team does get checkpoint, but they don't get much more than that. So that isn't bad. I like that we take this kind of left angle right here, because it's something they didn't watch well. Um, nice, okay.
Yeah, eventually. Ugh.
Yeah. Didn't see the bucket flank, but that's fine. That happens.
Yeah.
Actually, let's go back at that.
Yeah, because I was like,
Yeah. This is one of those things where we are way too aggressive.
Yeah.
And I think it starts with this drop. Drops are always kind of a commitment. I think I went back a bit too far. Drops are always a commitment in that you have no way of actually getting back up. Even on maps where you drop on like inkable walls on something like Mako stacks, for example, even then it takes a while to get back up on walls, and walls are always a kind of really annoying position to be in and a really scary position to be in because it's really easy to get punished if you're on walls.
Yeah.
It's like the only option you really have is to go into the air, and then if you're in the air, you're in an even worse position.
Yeah. Oh. Yeah, no.
So that's for inkable walls. For uninkable walls, you physically don't have a way to go back up. So kind of as soon as you take a drop, you have to realize that that kind of limits your like options you have at that point.
Yeah.
So we always want to kind of think about when we take a drop, why we're taking that drop, and what options we have as soon as we took it.
Yeah.
So in this position right here, we like the scary part about this is mostly the paint over here, and just that this part of the map isn't really like the most effective part for you to fight on.
Yeah.
Because like the enemy has high ground, they can like hide between some sorts of cover as well if they want. They can just move back and stall you out. All that kind of stuff makes it really difficult. And also as a like shot, your fighting capabilities aren't remarkable. They are good, don't get me wrong. It's a really good weapon at fighting. But it does still get outclassed by a lot of weapons that a lot of people play in this meta.
Yeah.
So yeah, what's kind of scary about this is like this drop itself isn't like it's okay in that like we still have a lot of options, we still have a decent amount of paint over here. We still have options after we drop. The thing is just like we move forward. And at that point we're moving too far forward.
No.
This is just to the point where like we aren't with our team, we don't have any paint, we don't have any advantageous fights. It's unfortunate.
Why? Yeah.
I'm assuming that this mostly comes down to awareness. That like we didn't really see all of this paint control for the enemy. We didn't really think that like there could be like 2 enemies on me right here.
My thought, I think, during that time was I knew that my bow player or Icy the Wellstring could get pop, and so I knew that like once we get pop, we get tons of paint, and I was like, awesome, amazing.
Yeah.
And so like that's my thought, I guess, is dropping down, committing to getting the pop, and then I wanted to start some sort of engagement, but I think it was way too aggressive. And I think I could have just like held that position and just let them come to me rather than like going forward, because I think that would have been fun, and then our zap could have gone from that check forward a little.
Yeah, exactly. I agree with that a lot. This kind of paint is a bit deceptive. Like Rainmaker Pop does give you a lot of paint, but at the same time it's there's still paint all around that. There's like all of this is still paint that the enemy can use to run at you right now, and it won't take for them to paint over this as well. So yeah, I definitely agree that if we play this safer, then that is totally fine. I would have probably like gone on this part of the map just because it's where the enemy wants to push. But at the same time, that's kind of a playstyle difference. and that's something where like different ideas are okay and different ideas do work. So I don't hate this kind of idea if we play it safe, and if we like kind of let the enemies run at us, because at that point, they are going into a direction that they really don't want to go, because they don't want to take the Rainmaker there.
What do you mean?
It's ridiculously funny bad. And if we just play this slow, if we play this like on our terms, then this is totally fine.
Yeah. I'm just way too much.
Yeah. We get Cooler right here. Take this again, we can Zuka from here, yeah. Good. This is a good Zuka position. I like this a lot. And we can move up from here, probably. Nice, really good job. We cleared the beacon as well. Nice. Nice, you're doing really good right now.
Yeah, it looks great, and then...
Yeah, this is like really, really good. And like you get a good lead of it. Would have probably been better to continue firing at them.
Yeah.
Just to get that big. But that's like a small thing. Nice, really good. And they probably drop it here, yeah. And that's this pushover, probably. Yeah, okay. That was a really, really strong push. Like a push to 15 is really good. I think this is the time.
Long flank.
Yeah. This is the thing that I remember. Okay, and I think the point here is similar to the one before, where if we take this flank a lot faster, then this is fine. But we kind of wait a bit too long, and because of that, they can get the Vec here, and with the Vec they can get the lead. Like you do get there almost in time, but just like barely not enough, just because they had Vec. If they didn't have Vec, then this would have been fine. Then this flank would have worked, and you would have still have had lead. But I guess it's also part of like special awareness in that case. If we know that they have Vec and a 10 shield, then we can be relatively sure that they want to push with that.
Yeah.
And we need to prepare for that very, very well.
Yeah.
And I think that goes for more than just you, in that I'd really like someone on the team to be on this top position right here.
Oh yeah.
Or like someone sharking over here if we don't have time to go to the top. Just because then we can like kind of take another off angle, take another position to fire at them from.
Yeah, our bow or bucket could be up there.
Yeah. Exactly. And then we wouldn't have to be so scared about like kind of the back going through here.
Yep.
So yeah, pretty much again, I think a point of we should try to do this flank a lot faster. And like be aware of what they want to do and like the resources that they have.
Yeah. Like, no.
Yeah. At like higher levels, you will have to play a lot more patiently as well. Like those flanks won't work at a certain level.
Oh yeah, for sure.
And in that case, this map kind of just turns into you throw suctions at this specific spot on the choke point, and then you get Zuka, and then you Zuka this specific point in the choke point.
Yeah. Yes.
And maybe an idea to work on that kind of playstyle right now, but also as long as those like that works, what you're doing, then like why stop for now?
Right. It's kind of like when I'm playing with different groups of people, I feel like I'm able to get away with those kind of things more. Versus like when I'm other players, other friends, I'm like, I'm not doing that kind of stuff. I'm letting someone else handle that if they want to.
Yeah.
Because I realize I can't. I'll get punished for it for sure.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Yeah.
Mhm.
Okay. I'd have preferred if we made sure that the left side is clear here.
Yeah.
Because I think the bucket does get through because of this. I think this comes down to awareness again. So I think in a second I'll talk about that a bit more in depth.
Mhm.
But like right here, you and like the Rainmaker right now are the only people that like can watch anything on the map, that can enforce any kind of control. And because of that, we need to make sure that kind of the main entry point into our base is safe and is controlled.
Yeah.
So I think it would be a lot better to play defensive here. Also because like we are already in a numbers disadvantage. It'd be good if we could like stabilize for a second, wait for everyone to be back, and then continue fighting.
Yeah.
And like, to be fair, your movement is really good here, but also it's a bit greedy.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like this kind of movement is really good, and like your mechanics are like really strong right here, just to be able to like move around that kind of quickly, try to evade their shots. It's just kind of the situation is already
Bad.
difficult.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. Nice. Good, okay. And they have beacons, which is scary.
Do we notice? I don't think so.
Well, kinda. Okay, not bad. I think we cleared the beacons by now. Okay.
Uh-huh. Okay, booyah. I should have held that Zuka because I didn't have a clear shot.
Yeah. Yeah, pretty much again what we talked about earlier. What's also really strong is to use Booyah right as use Zuka right as Booyah is going off. Because what Booyah does is it forces people to move. And like if we explode a Booyah right here, then like people who are in any way of this kind of radius will have to move out of that. And people who are like kind of actively moving away from stuff like that are way easier to shoot.
For sure. It reminds me of another game where we had a sploosh on the team, and using hammer. After they used hammer to displace a bunch of people, I used Zuka and was able to get really good hit,
yeah, exactly.
So.
And that makes sense, right? It's just all those kinds of specials that kind of force people to move, that make people scared, are really good together.
Yeah.
Sure.
That's kind of silly. Let's.
I mean that's not bad because like we had cooler. Nice, good job. This is
This is
I mean it was close. Like we were decently close to actually getting lead back there. So I respect the attempt. Okay. I don't hate this shark. Okay, we need people to watch left though.
Yeah, hell no.
That's a bit unfortunate. I mean, we actually managed to clean it very well. We didn't look at the beacon, no.
No. So sad.
Tragic.
Yeah.
Scary tent.
Yeah.
Oh no, there's someone sharking on the right. Tragic.
Nah, yeah.
Yeah, that was a good shark on them. And it's unlikely to see stuff like that. Okay. Let's yeah, I think the main thing to take away from this game is just like those kinds of flanks and what we should be doing instead. In that go ahead.
Oh, sorry. I was just like, it made me think of like, I feel like some of the I don't know, take it as you will, but I think there's a sort of like flexibility that needs to happen that sometimes isn't happening with me, where I'm like
Mm-hmm.
shifting priorities, shifting responsibilities, or right. But it's also
Mm-hmm.
because like if I'm not aware of it, then yeah, I'm not gonna change what I'm doing.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it feels like there just needs to be a little bit more flexibility or awareness of like, okay, if this is happening, then I need to shift my playstyle too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I totally agree. I think that's kind
Yeah.
of the main part right here. Because a lot of the flanks aren't bad. There's just like small things missing that I think we're like not quite seeing. That would
Mm-hmm,
make them be a lot more effective, or like in some cases where that would maybe lead us to not take the flank.
mm-hmm,
So I agree that I think a decent part of it comes down just to kind of awareness, to seeing things, to seeing where enemies are, and kind of seeing what options you have and how much time you have for those options.
mm-hmm.
Um, I'm hmm, for awareness in general, the way that I think it's really good to practice is just to go into a game with a very specific focus in mind. Very specifically thinking about like improving the awareness around drops. So something that I um like a while back I did a like training session on was just every time I did a drop, I explained to myself like out loud, just kind of talking to the monitor, why I took that drop and why it is safe to do. Or like when it wasn't safe to do, I also told myself that it wasn't safe to do and that I shouldn't do it in future. Um,
Yeah.
so stuff like, I took this drop because there's enough paint for me here that I can reposition and move around safely. This drop is fine
Yeah.
because I know there's no enemies around. This drop wasn't fine because there was tons of enemy paint and there's 3 people looking at me and I will get punished for it and I will cry severely. Um,
Yeah. Real. Oh man.
so that kind of approach for me was really helpful because it's like,
Hmm.
in general, having very specific goals is always good. And
Yeah.
kind of just talking to yourself about that makes it very specific why you do certain things. And that's kind of what you want to train
Hmm.
when
Hmm.
training awareness or like decision making
Yeah.
is being like more able to see things and respond to them better. And that's kind of
Yeah.
exactly what this practice kind of tries to do.
Woohoo.
Um, that concept applies very generally. And I've done it in a bunch of different ways, in like just talking about what you're doing and why you're doing it.
Hmm.
Just kind of narrating yourself, and because of that, like being able to see what went well, what didn't go well, and why.
Yeah.
And that's kind of a practice method that helped me for that.
Hmm.
Um, I'm wondering if there's any specific drill we could think of for like those kind of flanks, and
Yeah.
how we could think about them better.
Mm.
Hmm. It's probably, at least what I'm thinking right now, it's probably a thing of being aware of like what areas are under your team's control and where
Mm.
people like where the enemies are pushing right now. Because like that's kind of what went wrong with the like Rainmaker push where they got lead, right? I'll try to go it right here. Is that in isolation the flank would have been really great, but went wrong. What went wrong is that the enemy team was able to really push through this really, really fast. And
Hmm.
because like their relative position changed so fast, you weren't able to catch up and
Yeah.
like get it in time.
For sure.
And I think that's something to consider, and I guess that's something that you could work on, is trying to be aware of like what control does the enemy have right now, and what control will they have when my flank arrives.
Hmm.
Um, So in this situation, right now they have like check control. I guess we should go back a bit further because the flank starts a bit before that. They have like control around this kind of area. But when we take this flank, we should think, oh god, they have like a vacuum. They have a lot of like enough paint to get into this kind of choke. They will be able to take space very fast here. So I have to respond to that and make my flank also be very fast, or like not take it in the first place.
Yeah. Well, and just made me think like I should be taking that that wall approach or through that little alley space.
Exactly. Because that's a lot faster. That's also a thing that's nice about it. It gives you a bit more cover, and like this is a spot where, at least from my experience, it's actually kind of really easy to just trade at least one person, and hopefully that's the Rainmaker. And just being able to trade the Rainmaker gives you so much time in situations like this. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, does that kind of make sense?
No, I think so too. I'm honestly, I really like what you said earlier about like the reasoning for why you took a drop and kind of explaining to yourself why you're doing what you're doing, right? Another coach had said something about like making sure you have a reason for the choices you make. Because if you don't, well, maybe it's time to look at that.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So I do like that because I think a little self narration or a little bit of like out loud call outs for yourself, I think can be helpful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sure.
Heck yeah.
Okay. Then I guess it's time to write down some notes.
Ooh, epic.
I will this the situation is fine. Okay. What did we talk about? We talked about Zuka, about tower control, and about that kind of awareness. I think honestly for like the Zuka things we talked about, maybe I can bring them up if I go back far enough.
Yeah.
It's kind of control Z 50 times. Unfortunately,
Yeah,
it's
let's
not
go.
there anymore.
Oh my god.
For those kind of Zuka things, so like target, I'll just write it down a bit shorter now.
Yeah, for sure.
Target safety and I forgot what the third one was.
I'm trying to remember. Target safety. I even was the student listening, guys.
Someone in chat save us.
Team focus. Like was for or with team.
Team focus works as a short thing. Good, okay. All this kind of stuff, maybe less so team focus, but definitely the first two are something where that kind of practice of calling out why and where you're doing things is really worth it as well. So like just every time you Zuka, and like that's hopefully then the only thing to try to do in that kind of practice session. Like every time you Zuka, you think about or like you talk to yourself about what target that has and if it's a safe position where you're Zuking from. So I think that kind of practice method totally works for that as well.
Yeah.
Then I read TC as like a kind of afterthought because I think Zuka and awareness is the most important thing.
Yes.
Awareness. Amazing.
Do you have to write with your mouse?
Yes, I'm writing with my mouse.
Oh god.
It's really awkward.
Yeah. Sure.
So I think I'll just explicitly write down this training method right here. Talk about decisions basically. And that really applies to any kind of awareness that you want to train or any kind of decision making. And specifically what I think would help is kind of think about when we're taking drops, and if we like kind of encounter this flank issue, more than thinking about when we take a flank, like where is the enemy right now? What kind of space control do we have? And where will the enemy be when when my flank arrives?
Mm.
So I think those two are things that would be worth doing. In general, just
Yeah.
any kind of awareness training is amazing.
Yeah. Right. I agree.
Yeah. So that
Mm-mm.
in combination with Bazooka as well. I'll 1 second. I'll write arrows. Arrows.
Oh my god, I love
Yes.
arrows.
Big
I
fan
love
of
connecting
arrows.
ideas.
Yes.
Yeah. Oh
um.
my god.
Yeah, because that works for Zuka as well.
It's all interconnected, guys. That's crazy.
Yep. And then TC just as a thing that's totally unrelated.
Yeah. Guys.
Mostly just like preemptive positioning as a
Yeah.
team. And as a team is the important part there. Kind of taking different off angles on the tower, or like off angles in the sense of hopefully safe positions.
Yeah.
But like different angles, different high grounds. Stuff like Mechos, for example, where there's like a lot of different angles you can take to shoot at tower.
Mm-hmm.
And all of them are kind of worth it at some point in the game.
Yeah. No, for sure.
So that's kind of the important thing with
Mm-hmm.
tower control, or like TC defense, I should specify.
Yeah.
TC.
Woohoo.
Preemptive positioning and taking different angles. I write this down explicitly because it's really what the most important thing is.
Yeah.
Oh, dark.
There we go.
Different angles, hopefully like kind of safe positions if possible. But you can take like flanks as well.
Yeah.
And stuff that's more risky, just because in this game, risky things generally pay off.
Oh, guys, yeah. Little gamble. Never hurt anyone.
Okay. Do you have any questions about like any of this?
Nah, I mean, this was great. This was really cool.
Okay.
Yeah.
Then I think that's everything for today.
Whoa.
The VOD of this will be up later.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sick. This is awesome. No, I'm gonna definitely share this with the group that I played with because it's not actually my usual team. It's only like
Oh,
one of
okay.
them is from or is well technically both two of them are from the same team that I'm from, but one of them is semi-retired, and then another is just like a close friend. And we were just playing an all for one last Friday, and that was really fun. So
That's good. Yeah.
yeah, no, this is like we love looking back at on things and just like figuring out what we could do better, and like it's really great. And it's really chill too. So I love this a lot. This is gonna be super helpful. So thank you, Fisk.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Then